Today I'm incredibly excited to work on the V70R because we are going to completely overhaul the front end as far as handling and stopping goes. Although we could throw more power at it right now with all the upgrades that we did in the last video, like the bigger intercooler and all the intake piping, I think it's important to upgrade handling and stopping before you just throw more power at a car, especially when all the suspension components, aside from the shocks, are at 150,000 miles. Putting more stress on super old components like that is not a good idea. These are all of the parts that I have to try and upgrade the handling on the V70R. We've got brand new Brembo brake rotors for the front and pads for it as well. Two brand new lower control arms with fresh bushings, some beefy sway bars. I believe these are from IPD. Along with that, we are refreshing everything in the suspension, so lower ball joints, inner tie rod ends, outer tie rod ends, and brand new boots for the steering rack. Those are wheel spacers. Along with those as well, we've got 5 mil for the front and 2 sets of 15 millimeters. So I could go either way on the front, definitely going 15 in the back. That's a fuel filter. I don't know why that's actually in here. That's not a handling mod. And this right here is the upgrade that I'm most excited to do. These are front Delrin subframe bushings. On these Volvos, the front subframe bushings make a huge impact to the handling of the cars. Mine are 150,000 miles old. They're sloppy. From what I've read, this is one of the best handling mods you can do to a Volvo. The front subframe is directly connected to everything steering related, so these upgraded Delrin bushings should make a big difference. And then finally, the BBS Nebula wheels are gonna go on the car. If you saw in the previous video, I did mess up and put these on without spacers, which caused them to rub on the brakes. And so the spacers that we have should make these things fit properly, which I'm so excited about. This is gonna be a massive project, but I'm just gonna go all in and commit to dropping the subframe completely out of the car. It's possible to do all of these little parts one by one, but I think just taking the leap of dropping the entire subframe is gonna make it so much easier to do all of these little jobs at once. And by the time we're done with it, it'll be completely overhauled, completely refreshed, and it's gonna handle like an R should handle, if not better, with our upgraded sway bars and Delrin subframe bushings. This is gonna be a cool episode, so let's get to work. I'm here under the car. I was just going to remove this 14 millimeter bolt in here, And look at this, it's already loose. This is for the front engine mount. The main front engine mount was just sitting here loose. That is not good. This is why, look at that, it just came out. That's what was holding the engine mount in. This is why I like going through everything. This up here is an engine support bar, and this is going to allow me to support the engine from above while we remove the subframe, because the subframe holds 4 out of 5 motor mounts. And the only other one is this guy right here, which definitely is not meant to hold the entire engine in place. So this is going to support it while we drop the subframe. I'm going to take the actual bolts out now. Subframe is out of the car, and I'm super stoked about it because it went pretty smoothly actually. I haven't discovered any other major catastrophic issues yet, and we're pretty far in, so that's always a good sign. Here it is, and the thing is absolutely massive, which kind of gives you a better idea of why it's so critical to the handling of the car and pretty much everything. I mean, all the motor mounts connect to it, the control arms connect to it, the sway bar connects to it. For those reasons, the subframe bushings on the 4 corners are really critical to a lot of the handling things because they connect not only the subframe to the car, but all of these suspension components and all of these motor mounts to the chassis. So the condition of your subframe bushings affects the response of all of those things. These don't look terrible, they're not falling apart, but you can tell they are just quite soft and compliant, mushy. We will be replacing them with these, which are Delrin, which is like a hard plastic that still absorbs vibration. Of course, you will feel a little bit more vibration and harshness from these, but I think they are still decently compliant, and the trade-off of getting rid of this mushy bushing is just going to be incredibly worth it. This motor mount is actually new, which is kind of cool. Still feels absolutely perfect. Over here, what's funny is you can see we have a lot of axle grease from when I first picked up this car with a broken axle. It kind of shot all the grease around here. So we're gonna be cleaning this thing up entirely. Of course, the sway bar runs right along the top here. We're gonna be replacing both these bushings and the entire sway bar with an upgraded one. That's gonna improve our handling significantly. And finally, our 150,000 mile Volvo control arms will be getting replaced as well. We have all of these new parts to put on. I'm so stoked because I think this thing is going to be fantastic once we're done with it. So let's tear everything off the subframe and give it a good clean. Look at all of that oil. PB blaster first on the subframe bushings. I didn't know it could be that easy, to be honest. There it is. Here's the old subframe bushings. I didn't think they'd come out that easy, but a little bit of PB blaster and a hammer, and it did the trick, man. Look at that. That took like 5 minutes maximum. Allison's here. We got 1, 2, 3 V70s now going for lunch, and then back to that. This is the amount of play that we had in the original subframe bushings, and now with the new Delrin ones, I can't get this to move even a little bit. The material is just enough that it'll absorb some vibration, but as far as actual movement in the bushing goes, I can't get any to happen with just my pry bar. The new sway bar is also on, and it looks fantastic. It moves nice and smooth as it should. Ladies and gentlemen, everything is back together, which means it's time to finally try and put on these BBS wheels. I've been dying to have these on the car. I was just waiting for the spacers. I think until I can run more camber, I'm gonna put just 5mm spacers here in the front. I'll do 15 in the rear, which should be right. I'm just super keen to put these wheels on and go for a drive in Angeles Crest to see how the new control arms feel, the subframe bushings, and all the other work that we did. I think the brakes are gonna be huge as well. Please fit. Okay, well, this is unfortunate. I read on the internet that 5mm would be enough to clear the brakes, but clearly still not enough. So let's try 15s, but I'm afraid that's gonna be just too much offset in the front and we're gonna hit the fender here. All right, trying this again. 15mm. There it is. No more rubbing on the brakes. Here goes number 2. Moment of truth. Ooh, man, that looks good. Let's see if this thing will still start. I just finished my alignment on the car from Andy's Alignment in Glendale, and I'm here in Angeles Crest to go for a little drive. The front end of the V70R now feels completely different, like worlds apart. Although this was a ton of work, just like the Japanifold was, I would say this was absolutely worth it. The steering response and the overall feel of the wheel is just so much better, so much sharper, so much more responsive, and all that without much of a noticeable increase in vibration or harshness, I would say. I mean, it might feel a little firmer and you might notice the bumps a little more. It's certainly a better feeling than the sloppy kind of just vagueness that the steering wheel had before. It's wet out right now, so not the best conditions to test it, but the response in the front end is absolutely incredible. It's so freaking sharp and it just turns right when you turn the wheel. Before it was like this crazy delay and you could kind of feel all the bushings just going like this side to side, whereas now when you turn the wheel, the car actually just moves where you turn it. Whoa, there was snow on that car. Can we find some snow up here? I am super happy with these modifications. This thing truly feels like a new car. I will say the alignment was very critical to it. When I had just reinstalled everything, the car actually felt pretty bad because the alignment was so far off since we had literally disconnected and reconnected everything in the steering system. But after an alignment, the thing feels absolutely incredible. I think the wheels look fantastic too, but unfortunately there is yet again a problem with them. The tires that are on here are obviously used tires, and they're kind of out of round, I think. I jacked up the car in my garage and inspected them while the wheels were turning, and you could visually see, especially in the front driver's side, there is quite a drastic unevenness in the tread depth of the tires. So these tires will be getting replaced in the next video, especially because in that front left corner, at low speeds, you really feel like you're driving over a constant small speed bump. Surprisingly, it's not noticeable at high speeds, but at low speeds it is. This has been an absolutely massive transformation. I'm stoked with how this car feels in the front end now. It is genuinely 10 times more enjoyable to drive up on these canyon back roads when you can actually just feel what your wheels are doing to the car, and when you just get that nice, like, crisp steering response. In the next video, we are gonna put some new tires on the car. We're gonna finish up the rear sway bar, which I didn't get to put on yet. And I got a straight pipe for this car, which I wanna throw on as a little bit of an experiment. It is maybe the ugliest straight pipe I've ever seen, but it should be functional as far as sound goes. And I've always wanted to hear, for a little experiment, what this engine sounds like completely opened up. So I think that should be a really fun video as well. And then this thing is just getting closer to being ready for a manual swap. I have a clutch on the way and some other parts, but that'll be a lengthy process, and I'll share all of it on the channel. So if you're not already subscribed, please hit that button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.